Majem Nangangonia, Suzora Yechiwa, Dusum Jeve Yunla Zalo, Jaga Jedo Baga, water Panjapara, and the Shitaya Purchase. Jumde the Mashiro Jeparu to Jimeniabo, Jumde the Mashiro Jeparu to Jambala Zalo, the Jeta Jetubatu, Jena Jumde the Jebeko, Jaco Pambara, Jamoji, Jenda Jambota, Jaju Sembe, Jedu Tab Jedu Juzu Deze, Junde de Somona, Jeje, Chujinanda Jetting, Zala, Numba Chuzo, Yan Deze, Jaju Samba, Samba Jambo, Papa Jeres, Wanjoshiro, Jeparu, Jamba, Somojuba, Yanamba, the Jambong. Teta Laya Rashi Jitumba Yanda Bajazo Dawa, the Nesanje Jitu, Seda Damba Chere, Jaju Samba, Samba Jambo, Papa Jeres, Wanjula, the Gajem, Rigi Boa, Rigi Bomaka, Lala Shiro, Jeparu, Somojuba Bade Jitala Baja, Tigajim Bada Jaju Samba Samba Jambo Papa Jere Sawanju Jitsata Damba Shere Tadebola Tigajem so Shere Rijibo Rijibo Makala Lashiro Japaru to Chamba Somojuba Jabanda Bade Deda Nambata Pamangamba Deda Laya Rashi Jetomba Yanda Bajasotawo Sotomba Otomani Susu Sole Tomani Shemaya Tomani Leja Tikinto Suada Dushetan Dujeta number Shebana Tomba War Sherepo, the Dutcher, Tajatomba in the senior member, Manjeba Mangaba, Jama member, Kawa member war Shere. Tatawana Tomba Yela Sumetsoa, Mentoship, Mentoship, and number Sheba, Memena, Mena Mejime, Lume Yemesumeta, Metimer, Romer, Mature, and the Minja Kama Mane, Ije Kama, Ije number Sheba, Kanja Batoya, Mendo Mareba, Mareba Sabab. Gajimen gaji sebe pato ye mendo deshin to dongen wadan kunju wadan gopadan lame ishe mendo pa memento baya mendo shere pote ta wana janju samana topa membe shere shiro je paro to je padela tenje nende sena jepa meje taba chinchi lo ne shindo tene nyangele debe thara chindo dosun do namba shube sanje tanje je shiro je paro to je padela tena lana memba yanda pa zobe janju dongon pa zobo sanje so teta wana shiro je paro to chembe nga rupa chembe nga lana membe Minyambata nyambra chepenga, dunga dajaro doshi vra chepenga, minzupena damba sheba jate shiro je paro to chepenga, membata yata, oma gate gate para sang, gate bote, sowa, shere bo, chachu samba samba chamba dada shiro je paro to Somola labra jawa tene chumde te tinga te de la shende chachu samba samba chamba papa chere sa wanjo la lekso, shi jawa chene, leso re je pa te te sheno te te shende chitra chu je tempa te shendo, shiro je paro to chambala cheba je te te shen sheba na je chesu. Chimde de ki de ke ka zena zeta damba shere de de boda jaju samba samba jamba baba jara so wanjo ta tanje damba koro de ta dal ha dam dal ha mai inda de sa je ben je de chimde de ji sumba la ngomba to ta ya ta omanga de paranga de parasanga de bode so wa ta ya ta omanga de paranga de parasanga de bode so wa ta ya ta omanga de paranga de parasanga de bode Tata omagade gade paranga de parasanga de bode so wa tata omagade gade paranga de parasanga de bode so wa tata omagade gade paranga de parasanga de bode so wa namala mala cha salo sanjela cha salo chula cha salo jindala cha salo yunja majira ja parota jambala cha taji de bitse droba juji chidangula omba jiji yunja majira ja parota jambata so mayela se second to jabala de na tu jala so ba minde be cho ti chira do ba te chen to taji yunja majira ja parota jambata so mayela se second to jabala de na tu jala so ba minde be cho ti chira do ba juji memba juji shi wa juji ra to shi wa jo je kanje de je to wa jo gaba memba je memba chaba memba ta memba wa memba do memba ta de me de to ba ni shi de ba zo be san je mana je damba de la cha lo jere donda je ju shi wa da me de ne be je da wa da to ba ro je pa so so je to shi de jan de dre de le sho. You have the opening prayer, yeah?
Yes, I do.
Can you do this? First is a page. I don't know. It's a short refuge and for immeasurable.
Okay.
Then jump to the after there's called the Namuna Sinada. I don't have the page number, but I will share with the people here.
In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly, I take refuge until awakening. Through the merit of practicing generosity and other paramita, May I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of being.
In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly, I take refuge until awakening through the merit of practicing generosity and other paramita. May I attain Buddha for the benefit of all beings. Buddha Sanje Jodai Soje Jona Lai Chanjoy Badoi Tane Japsoi Che Taje Jensoi Jebe Sonam Je Dolai Penjre Sanje Drobai Jo. Mother Sensation being limitless space, have happiness and the cause of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they never be separated from happiness that's free from suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from any bias of attachment or aversions. May all mother sentient beings, limitless as space, have happiness and the cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they be not be separated from the happiness that's free from suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from any bias of attachment, aversion. My Nanga Danyambe Senja Danje Dewa Dewa Judan Dembai Juche Tunga Je Judan Dewa Juche Tunga Membe Dewa Mendewa Je Nyere Chadai Nyendan Dewe Tanyon Lai Nembrai George. Then go to page one more. Then no. Namo to the Guru, the complete purity of the phenomena existence. I offer phenomena existence arising within the ground. I pray that the three realms of the completely liberated grant the blessing that from the depth of samsara is uprooted. You are victorious, the Lord wish fulfilling crown jewel. Your victorious mind is beyond word, thought, and description. You possessing the five all-knowing wisdom. You are the essence of the love endowed with kindness. They are the precious protector of beings. I supplicate you from the within the natural state of the mind. Please bless me within the state of reality itself. Please bless me to realize the complete, pure, primordial, non-arising mind beyond thought as the Dharmakaya. Namo Nase Nandai Je Lamai Lai Nase Sheche Sui Chobai Mbe Kansu Yon Zhe Du So Wai De Ko Wai Dong Zhuo Sui Chen Jie Lo Jie Ye Xie Non Boi Zu Jie Jie Ma Sai Ju Me Jie Wei Tu Jian Bei Ye Xie Ngang Dai De Zhe Wei Da Nie Ge Zhen Jie Rô Wai Jian Zhe Ren Boi Jie Da Xin Nian Jie Ngan Ne So Wai De Jun Yin Jie Ngan Doi Jin Jie Loi Sen De Ne Ye Men Nan Dai Jie Lon De Chu Gui Do Brai Jin Jie Loi 我们去见见不长多，都从三界过年我。让谁就跟我做的这把，这我拉玛那拉国家在，他别多接些节日所中，新年们都对接帮助吧。世界龙波的帮助别国，世界做的拉国家在，多些讲解的来那罗达，妈妈没拉出去干包吧。 Pamon Joba Jawan Jakomba Kaju Lama Nala Gujaze. Tazo Senje Tanje Jelo Choso Jowa Chinjela Toso, Cholando Loma Chinjela Toso, Landroba Sawa Chinjela. Tuba Yishiso Jawa Chinjela Nujiji de Bandelaman Sola Jepso Joe, Jujison Jeladalaman Sola Jepso Joe, Nasa Bandelaman Sola Jepso Joe, Tobeta Joe watching Jelapto, Tujishin watching Jelapto, and the Bachin Jelapto, Chaja Chamber, Chojing Mundo, sending a lot of watching Jelapto, Sanja Gunda Savala Mala, Kusungo watching Bechazalon, the men and Lord one Shepherd, Sedan Dropa Nyamba Chinjilo. Good morning. Today we're going to talk about the four Dharma of Gampopa. So before actually topic, who was the Gampopa? And originally, I mean, Gampopa was born around 1000, I think 1075 or something, you know, it's called 11th century. Yeah, he was born in around 11th century. And I think he can say fortunate to have the parent who are educated. So at a young age, he received the education of learning general language, because around that time there's no really formally school or anything. You know, these days everywhere's a school. People are really fortunate, but then we kind of what call this?
Take it for granted.
Yeah, taken for granted. So lots of people at that time, they wish to have education, but not really, not have that kind of facility. But he's fortunate to receive some general education from his father, I think. Then later, young age, he learned physician. So that way, his name become a Takpo Haji. Takpo Minda is from the region, from that area where he born, from the Takpo region. Haji Minda, like a doctor. It's kind of like Haji is more like a highly respect for the doctor, you know, doctor, which is a more respectful, not just only physicians. So it's become like a people respectfully called. So I think that time and now is what different is now people demanding the title. At that time, people just or those the title is people just call randomly, you know, because of the your quality. Now it's a time is changed. Now everybody go to I want to receive this title. I want to receive this title. If for the mundane or super mundane way, everybody demanding the title. I think all time there are not that many maybe title, except that, you know, like what called politics. Yeah. Yeah. Other than that, especially spiritual way, I don't think so. There's such things called receiving the titles. I don't think so. But I mean, that's not a big deal. So it's call him Takpol Haji. It means that he was a great physician. But and of course, if you look at everyone who become great master, who became great master, they all share the one common. Most of them are really share the one common thing is a tragedy. You know. So Gampopa also went through that tragedy. He was married, have a beautiful 2 children. Somehow, his both children, some kind of disease, caught and died at a young age. And after that, his wife also got sick. So during his, learning medicine and, treating people, during his marriage, he already met some Kadamba master and some also Nima master and received some teaching from the Dharma. So he's not like a totally clueless with the Dharma. So he already had some access, or can say, some with the Dharma. And then with that his knowledge of about the Dharma and the tragedy of his both kids passing, and his wife also got sick, really badly sick. And because he's a physician, he knew she's not dying because of some reason. So one day he asked her, what made you not dying? What made you hold like this, still like hanging there? And she told him truth, I'm really worrying that when I died, you will remarry with some other woman. Because Gampopa was really such a handsome looking at that, So he said, definitely you will remarry. So I really don't want to see you in another woman's arm. And Gampopa said, you have to no worry. Even you heal from this sickness. I was a long time thinking about becoming ordained. Even you heal, are wishing to be ordained. So it's not like I'm seeking some more, another wife or anything. Even I was considered to, separated from you. Even so if you died, I promise you, I will not remarry and I will become ordained. Then she said, okay, if you really do that one, then I'm relieved. So that is how sometimes attachment hold you, Some people hold it with this life. Some people, because of the attachment, you hold life after. I mean, after the death, you become ghosts because of the attachment. Some kind of spirit. So you hang around that. So because of that, then she passed away. Then once he passed away, then Gampopa totally renounced from the mundane life, and he became ordained through the Kadamba tradition. At that time, Kadamba tradition is really popular. After the Adisha came to Tibet, many people joined to the Kadamba monks, and he became a monk in the Kadamba tradition and received many teaching from the many Kadamba masters. I think one of the Drupakaji Kempo, he said, even the jewel ornament he wrote around that time when he receiving the Lamrim teachings from the Kadamba master, and he wrote the jewel ornament as his kind of like a note for his own those teaching collection of the teaching note. Mm-hmm. Yeah, note. So he wrote jewel ornament originally at that time. But then one day when Gampopa staying in one place, and there was 3 beggars talking about, and one beggar said, our life is pathetic. They are nothing. Wish to be like a ngada takzawa, someone, So there's one guy, he's kind of powerful in the local, and one said, even he become like him, one day have to die. What's the point? No matter how much you gain in this life, you have to leave everything. If you wish to be with like someone, should be like a Milarepa, free from worry, all the food offering by the Dakinis, and can fly anywhere he want. So no fear, no suffering. That if you wish something like that. When Gampopa hear the Milarepa's name, and even the body's hair standing, kind of like so emotionally moved, and he becomes feel like, I really wish to be meet with these great beings, whoever the Milarepa is. Actually, those 3 beggars are emanation from the Milarepa, because Milarepa really need Gampopa to be successor. So Milarepa manifests 3 beggars and talk near Gampopa's residence. That is, I think that's really important. having successor. You know, if you don't have good successor, then no matter how great teacher you are, when you died, everything is died with you. So if Gampopa not successor, I think Milareva's lineage is not that strong, like after Gampopa. So that reason, then Gampopa went to his current teacher from the Kadamba, and they kind of not really agreeing, but they give him permission to can go. Okay. So, and at that time, when Gampopa coming to West Tibet from the East Tibet and to see the Milarepa, and it's not really transportation. It's a really harsh traveling. So someday Gampopa was, Milarepa was laughing, you know, smiling at the teaching, and sometimes he showed really a sad face. And some of disciples asked, Guru, where you are those expression, you see when your sad face mean that you see some of us may give mistake the, you know, what called our practice, or when you smiling, it means that you see some of your disciple are you know, achieving some realization. And Milarepa said, it's nothing have to do with you. My heart disciple is coming, because he was really struggling on the road. That's why I'm sad. But he is supplicating my guru to me, and he's with a 1 point devotion like coming toward to me. That's why I'm smiling. Anyone who introduced me, that person will be like a 7 lifetime or something. There's no low realm. So then there's a lot of old, you know, what called the local people also receiving teaching. And the one lady, she heard that one. She really want to be her daughter to be who introduced to Gampopa to Milarepa. So when Gampopa come to the near that place, then she recognizing that is what Milarepa waiting. And so she took him to her house and did a really good, you know, what called this,
Attended to him?
no, like a serve. Yeah, hospitality. And she said, oh, I really want to my daughter to introduce you to Milarepa, because my Guru Milarepa said this. And Gampopa a little bit become, you know, proud himself. Oh, maybe I'm some special, some important. That when my Guru said that one, and he become a little bit ego. So because of his ego, Milarepa denied to 1 month meeting with the Gampopa. Whole month, you know, Milarepa excuses somewhere to never met him. After he arrived to the Milarepa residence, 1 month, because he need to reduce his ego. And so then later, of course, met with Milarepa. And Milarepa said, what's your name? And I think that is his ordained name, Sonam Rinchen. And he said, because of your great accumulation, Sonam means the accumulation, and become Rinchen in the Rinpoche, or precious one. And said, you are come from the source of great accumulation and become Lord of all the sentient beings, precious to all the sentient beings. And said to according to his name, and said, okay, drink this one. He gave the Kapala with a full of alcohol. And Gampopa was a little bit hesitant because he's monk, you know, maybe this is not so good to drink alcohol. And immediately Milarepa realized that one, said, don't think too much. And Gampopa thought, oh, this is something you have to do. Then he drink without hesitation and drink completely. And Milarepa said, this is a sign of you're going to behold complete my lineage. Receive all teaching. So from there to start, then Milarepa give instruction to the Gampopa daytime, nighttime. Gampopa meditate on those all instruction, and tomorrow morning, whatever he have experienced, go to the Guru. And the Guru, you know, Milarepa said, this is because you feel this way, or you experience this way because of this. You know, sometimes he have a too tight with his meditation bill. Sometimes, you know, there's a lots of reason to have an experience. So that way, one time I said, you have an experience from sometime medication, sometime, meditation, sometime, there are so many different experience. So everything is not necessarily always a positive, medication, meditation, and what called the one is, what called those, like drug and alcohol.
Inebriation.
Huh? Intoxication. There are lots of different ways you can have experience, So sometimes Gampopa Milarepa said this is a good one. Sometimes said no, you need to change this. So also I think lots of experience related to our what we eating, So how we sitting. So that is how guru and a disciple mean that way. You have to receive the instruction, and once you receive the instruction, you have to experiment. Once you have an experiment share to the guru, then guru will, can say examine it on that or whatever. If there's something mistake, guru will fix that one until you become, independent of your practice. Once you become independent in your practice, then you no longer need the presence of the guru. Then you can go to continue to until it becomes established. After you have a correct experience, then until you become established, then you have to go through the practice. It's called the retreat, whatever, isolated retreat. Yeah. So that is how Gampopa did for about I think three or little bit more, 3 or more years, and then after the receive everything, then Milarepa said, now you should go back to the. It's at that time called the Central Tibet, because where Milarepa was West Tibet. So go back to the Yu, it's mean the Central Tibet, which is the South Tibet right now. So, and then Milarepa also said, I have really difficult to separate from you, but you have to go. So Milarepa went very far to saying goodbye to his disciple, heart disciple of the Gampopa, heart son. And then there's one river, and Milarepa said, now I'm too old to cross the river. So now I'm going to stay from here, goodbye to you. And Milarepa, Gampopa crossing the river, and Milarepa said, come back. Oh, before crossing the river, leaving, I have only one left, really precious instruction, but I think you cannot, or are too precious to be giving away. But so just leave now. And Gampopa was leaving middle of the river and called back, said, this is so precious to me, but if I don't share to you, there's no way I can share anyone. You are my heart disciple, heart son. So Gampopa said, okay, if Guru is going to give me the precious teaching, I should prepare some mandala offering or something. And Milarepa said, oh, this teaching, you don't need anything preparation. And he just showed his butt. And his butt is become calluses, and said, I'm become with one life, Buddha, because I sit this long. He said, if you dig ground long enough, you will find the water. If you rub the wood hard enough, you will produce the fire. If human beings, if you put the effort, there's nothing that cannot be accomplished. So that is his final teaching, and left Gampopa from the Milarepa, and he went to Gampo and did many a retreat there. Until actually Gampopa asked to Milarepa, when I can take the disciple, said, you will have, right now you have one realization called the Desemido, Deo Selwa Mindoba, which is mean the bliss, luminosity, and non-conceptual. It's a similar, but much, advanced one you will experience. And that time you will see me also truly Dharmakaya. At that time you can take the disciple. So, which is talking about in the Mahamudra, it's called the one test, So when Gampopa have that kind of realization, and he's still wishing to be long time retreat, like he want to do 12 years isolated retreat. He want to meditate, go. Then Dagini said, now is it better 12 years separate the Dharma teaching than going to isolated retreat. So then he started taking disciple. Once he took the disciple, there's so many great masters, so many comes. So after that, it's become a Tapo Kagyu. And not just only Tapo Kagyu, and the Kagyu lineage is become separate to the everywhere, from the Gampopa. And so many audience and non-audience following to the Gampopa and his disciple like Pamutuba, Gamapa, and those, and each one have thousands disciples. This is so in the even nowadays in Tibet, southern Tibet, I think especially southern Tibet area, when people really surprise some, then they all say the Kagyu Lama Kagyu doesn't. It means the Kagyu monastery. That is showing us how many of them. Like a Westerner said, when you surprise something, oh my God, yeah, similar that one is used as a Lama Kagyu. So from there to until like I think 15th, 16th century, Kagyu is become like pretty much not just only Tibet. Like a Drupal, there's one expression said, whole walls, half human are Drupal. Half Drupal are beggar. Half beggar are Mahasiddha. And same way in the Dikung Kagyu. There is called all the mountain are Dikung, all the village are Dikung. That many practitioners everywhere. So one time, one Drupal master's disciple requires him to, please master, send me the retreat place. There's no Digumba. Those are really terrible people. Then master said, that he's Drupal, he said, I cannot send on this planet. There's no Digung. So that is showing us not just only this planet. Also, those are really highly accomplished ones. Some are in the higher realm, some are in the other realm. They also travel to meditate, So, so that is what is history. Because of the Gampopa, it all happened. Then when Gampopa was passing away, age, I think 75, yeah. One thing he said is, in the future, some people have a devotion toward to me, and they kind of sad because not meet me, but wishing to meet me. Then just read the jewel ornament of the liberation and lamb of the path, ornament of the what called this lamchorinjito. Yeah. So read those two. If you read those two, it's equal to meeting with me. So from those Gampopas, I mean, he gave teachings many years, many different subject teachings. All those teachings summarizing, can say all his teaching can be summarizing, or he can say all the Buddha Dharma. Gampopa summarizing on the 4 Dharma. Like a Buddha summarizing all the teachings of his many years teaching is he summarized on the 4 seal. Yeah. Same way, Gampopa summarizing all his Dharma, also called the 4 Dharma. And so this is of course, it's important to know detail, but same time it's important to know how to be how to say, can I summarize or how to summarize. So because it is important to see everything, but then you have to try to bring them to be what is you should focus. Once you learn everything, then you have to make that this is a really like a, through your experiment, then you produce the one result. So that is, can say, all his lifetime's experience meant so producing the result of this become a 4 Dharma of Gampopa.
The word that sometimes is used, it's subsumed.
Subsume all his wisdom, knowledge, experience as this 4. So that we call the 4 Dharma of Gampopa. I think you already know that my mind is trained to the Dharma. My Dharma is trained to the path. My path is trained to the free from the delusion, of false, and all the delusion transform into the wisdom. So this one is a supplication. To whom you're supplicating, you need a qualified guru to supplicate this one. So what's the qualified guru? Lots of it's called in the Gajuba said, guru who have the vow and had what called preserve the vow, and whose samaya is not broken and have a experience of the blessings. That kind of guru, someone you have to supplicate it to this one, because sometime we may learn, but it's not going to be implicate to your mind. Can say imply, imprint or imply, imprinted is not necessarily imprinted in your mind. Like Basubandhu, 500 lifetimes he became a scholar, Bidida, but still he was an ordinary. Make sense? So we can learn, but not necessarily all whatever we learn is imprinted in our mind. Make sense? So that way, this is necessary to be blessed that help us to imprint part of life. So this one is especially kind of a method to how to transform your Dharma truly imprint in your heart, not just only, only in the Buddhism, sometimes we call the logicians. Logician mean they have lots of knowledge. They can express, but it doesn't mean that they come from their own experience. I think in the ornament of the Mahayana Sutra, that translate as a knowledgeable one. Yeah, something like that. I think it said knowledgeable one, or So this is have knowledge is not good enough. You have to imprint in your. So that way we supplicate to the guru. So these 4. So first one is lots of time is that my mind trained into the Dharma. So first, of course, mind. So we all know that our feeling, mind, heart, whatever is that talking about. But what is the Dharma? Generally, Dharma means the phenomena. Dharma means the phenomena. Any kind of phenomena. There's I think Basubandhu said there's 10 phenomena. But this one is called sometimes we call the spiritual Dharma, sometimes called the holy Dharma. Nowadays, lots of people translate as a Buddha Dharma, Sattva Dharma. In the Tibetan called the Dambechu. Dhamma means the holy or Sattva or pure, or you can say in Latin one, and that Dharma. So Buddha's Dharma is the mainly is the antidote of the when our mind turn into the Dharma means the whatever we learn, whatever we know is become antidote of the afflicted emotion. So our mind turn into the Dharma is how to measurement is our mind is getting into kind of like reducing our afflicted emotion or not. In Tibetan, there's a Tibetan word called the tudampel. It means that increasing your commitment in your heart. The Dharma practitioner, we greeting, say, we don't say Tashidele or especially saying good night or those, we don't say that. We say tudampel. Tudampel means that increasing your commitment at heart. What is the commitment of our heart is the Dharma practice. So there's one quote saying, what does the tudampel mean? He said, if you have renunciation from the devotion, from the faith, if you increasing your renunciation from the faith, or with faith, by faith, that is a sign of a tudampel. If you increasing your what called the like Shambhalopa means like feel like a disgusting the worldly pleasure or whatever worldly Dharma is a kind of like a renouncing, or I think Shambhalopa is a kind of like when your stomach is full, you don't want to eat, it's something like that. You feel disgusting. That is a sign of you increasing your commitment. If your loving kindness and compassion is increasing, that is a sign of what called increasing of your commitment. And if you are transforming your vision, can say vision or appearance, conceptual, projection are pure, that is a sign of what called increasing your commitment. So if you complaining all days, every day to someone's problem, that means that your projection of what called the projection is a negative. If you start seeing more and more good things about other, that means that your projection is a transforming to the positive. Make sense? So that is how we perceived. Some people only see the negative things. Some people, because our mind is really corrupted by the negative emotion. Some people see only positive things because our mind is, transforming by the positive thought. So Dharma is for that. So when that is help, then it's called the imprint, the Dharma in mind. So main point is when our negative emotion, like anger, hatred, jealousy, that kind of emotion is decreasing, that is mean that imprinting the Dharma in your heart. When our positive thought, like such as a loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta, those are increasing, that is the sign of Dharma is imprinting your heart. But then that's not easy to come. Sometimes people think, oh, this is just easy. It's not really easy to come. You need a great support of the merit, great support of the blessings, great support of the all those favorable conditions have to come together to imprint in your heart. So that way, sometimes we knew, but we couldn't
carry on that. Reason is it because it cannot imprint in our heart what we know. Because of lack of the blessing, lack of the merit, it is impossible. Otherwise, like a Bosubondu have been 500 lifetimes. Pintida, not just only somebody like we have a little bit knowledge, not like that. Pintida means the great knowledgeable. Not like these days PhD. These days PhD is really easy. You just, kind of like a research a little bit subject here, there, one subject, any distribute kind of like one booklet, yeah. Then your professor said, oh, this is good. Then you get PhD. Not that kind of PhD, the great Pintita mean. So these days it's really easy. I made lots of people have a really small knowledge about the Dharma, they have a PhD. Really, they told me they have a PhD, but when I asked them to Dharma discussion, I mean, I'm better than them. I don't have PhD. So it's not that kind of PhD of the scholar. Really high level, high degree scholar, but still they not reach to the what called the liberation, because their knowledge and it's not really truly imprint in their heart. So that is because our mind and Dharma is separated. So this reason we say is please bless that my mind is trained into the Dharma. What is not training our mind into the Dharma? Is it because our mind is corrupted with the 8 worldly concern that hold us not trained into the Dharma. Basically, we just focus on this life. If you look at the Dharma practitioner, majority is focus. How many you can see truly, totally element, this life is totally let go. Forget about the totally let go. I mean, even Milareva couldn't do. He have to take care of his food, clothes, and lots of, he said, this is a little bit too much. It's not necessary, totally let go. But I mean, our main focus is on the Dharma, is really truly for this life or next life. So His Holiness Dalai Lama said, when Tibetan people go to the monastery, when come to the main temple, they just join the hand, do prostration, but they're not really that much serious. But when come to the Dharma protector house, then they become really serious, because Dharma protector is powerful for just seeking for this life's, support. When come to the Buddha, oh, this is Buddha, wow, wonderful, but it is not really that much serious. That is a showing. Our majority of our practice is this life concern. How become a wealthy, how become a powerful, how become, I mean, just like some kind of like political game. Similar like that. Sometimes, Dharma success is so when they receive lots of donations, said this time my tour is really successful. So success is according to the bank account. That's not Dharma success. That's a mundane success. Make sense? So I'm not, I'm not saying I'm pure and everyone is, including me. We are our, majority of our practice is a concern for this life. Yeah. I'm not saying also we don't need those all. Dharma practitioner need support. Like we have a 8 lesson and 10 endowment. From the 10 endowment, there's 5 from other. Yeah. 2 of them. One is a teacher, one is a sponsor. Without the teacher, you cannot receive the teachings. Without the sponsors, help, you cannot continue practice Dharma. Both need. So that way it means that we need a material necessity, food, clothes, those all necessary. I'm not saying so that way I'm not saying it's wrong to practicing the wealth deity. I'm not saying it's practicing the Dharma protector, and I'm not saying it's all the practice of the healing Buddha or those is not necessary. But that is not the main goal. Make sense? So I think sometimes we forget the main goal. Like in Tibetan, we have saying people focus too much how to learn the melody and how to use the drum and bell, but they never focus on how to meditate on the meaning of the chant. Then somebody have a great melody and can use drum and bell really nice way, elegantly, then said this is a great chant practitioner. So that is not measurement, it's not there. Now, how much your mind transformed from the Dharma, that particular Dharma, that is the measurement. So when we say my mind turned into the Dharma, so how much turned away from the 8 worldly concern? That is the measurement. Make sense? So we all need to really work hard. It's not easy. Why is it? Because we have a really bad habit. Begin lifetime to until now, we put that habit. That changing that habit is really difficult. Like somebody is a lifelong smoker. If you ask them to stop smoking, you can say anything. The smoke will kill you. It's a really poison. It's a really bad this and that. The person will agree with you everything, but it's not easy to stop. Same way, our habit of the mind is not easy to stop. We know all those are bad. It not necessarily immediately can stop, but shouldn't forget it's not good. And try our best to much as we can, when we turn into the Dharma, some people think, oh, if you not become 100%, you're not good enough, just give up. Even you can do the 10%. It's good. Even you can do the 20%, that's good. Everybody cannot become 100%. Then everybody become a holiness. There is no, like all God called, there's no Indian, only cheap. That's not also good, So it's not necessarily be our practice be 100%, but our intention is on go that direction. Make sense? So when we're practicing, our main intention is not a worldly concern. So what is the 8 worldly concern is? Said, when we receive something received, we become really happy. And also we do certain Dharma practice for that purpose, receiving that gift. Sometimes we do the practice of generosity. Sometimes we practice the moral ethic. Sometimes we do practice of the patience. To purpose as a mainly as a receiving that gift. So sometimes people become a vegetarian because show the what called the impression to the other. Oh, I'm a vegetarian, but not truly is not. So we're pretending something not to us. So just so that is it. That is what's mean the the concern of the who want to receive. When we not receive that reward of what we behave for that, then we become angry. Yeah. Then you is upset. So also we do those all the practice, lots of practice. We do the practice prayer, whatever is it, to hoping to the praise.
For praise.
for praise. I mean, I'm not saying it's like everyone doing that practice as for the purpose of praise, but I'm saying it really concern mean become that way. If you do whatever, generosity, morality, patience, perseverance, metta, concentration, any kind of practice you do, purpose is you receive some praise, that become a really concern. After you did all those practice, when nobody praise you, you get upset. That one is a really concern. Make sense? Then sometimes people think that Dharma practice is also becoming healthy. Oh, Dharma is a free from all the problem. Once you do the Dharma practice, free from also your problem. Then when they facing some challenge problem, then they question for the Dharma. I'm not sure this is good or not. So that is come from the 8 worldly concern. Yeah. When it's from the Dharma, you pray something. If you get the answer, you become really happy. When that prayer is not answered, you get upset with the Dharma. Sometimes that whoever you request to the Guru, we get upset with that that Guru. Make sense? So those are, I think, it really concern. It mean. So we become ordained, or we do go to the temple, or we do the practice, we recite mantra, or then all those if we purpose is for this life's gaining certain this, then it's become it really concern. Okay, there's a 6. When then also another one is we do Dharma practice, then hoping to the hearing all the pleasant things about you. Yeah. So that is a hope. So then when hearing the pleasant things, the people, saying, oh, you are the wonderful, you are the such, Rinpoche, holiness or eminence, and that's then said, oh, then become, oh, I'm wonderful. Then when people not call you Rinpoche, or when people not call you the such and such title and just call your name, it can hurt you. Why you don't call me the Rinpoche? Someone told me, someone tried to contact to the chat to the someone and said, you didn't use the Rinpoche. They said, why you don't call me? I'm Rinpoche. Why you don't call me Rinpoche? So I heard something like that. I don't know from where, or from whom, or from what, but that's there's a little bit. I don't know what call. So. It's so funny, like nowadays everybody called me Kembo, okay? But then some people I know long before I become a Kembo, they call my just a regular name. Sometimes feel a little bit hurtful, or kind of feel like, this is showing me the kind of like a, a little bit looking me down or whatever. I think everybody have some feeling that way. So that's come from the 8 worldly concern. Yeah. So even that small way that way can be possible. Make sense? So I'm not saying anything. So actually, if you really want to be truly good practitioner, don't expect any title or anything, just be ordinary and practice. one of the, I can say one of the best practitioners in my life I met. Most of they don't have any title. Because once we receive the title, we become, our ego is go high. Any title, doesn't matter. And our ego is a go high. That is against with the Dharma, because then we become a mundane Dharma. Concern for this life. So as earlier I said, I'm not saying is don't take care of your health. Include the material. Even the Milarepa, sometimes you go to the town to bake food. He didn't hide on the mountain for 100% day. Many times, lots of story. Sometimes Milarepa and Rechumba also go together to bake food. Continually in Tibet, lots of retreaters, they do that one. Time to time, they go to town and bake food and try to collect a donation, then go back again to. So it's showing us that you cannot totally neglect this life. That way, Jidisungun said, accumulating the merit with the self-concern is the best skillful. Because if you not have a concern this life, you have no concern of your own well-being. If you don't have your concern of your well-being, you have no what called the intention of becoming Buddha. Make sense? So if you don't have a concern for this life, how could you say you have a concern for next life? Make sense? So it's not about totally neglecting this life, totally just, avoiding this life's concern or anything. But this is just have to be a little bit more kind of percentage, like 70 or 80% of the, I'm talking about according to the Dharma practitioner, especially ordained. Lay people, they have they have responsibility of taking care. So that's different. But even your lay people, when you're practicing Dharma, your intention, your dedication, your hope is for more like at least for the next life. If you just only concerning this life and practice with that according to that one, in the Kadamba tradition, there's one that Potowa said, if you have no concern for even for the next life, you're not qualified to call yourself as a human beings. At least being what called becoming qualified to call the human being, you must need the concern for next life. Somebody lowest one, somebody have a fear of a reborn in the low realm, that way they're doing something good. That's called the lesser capacity beings. So Potowa said, if you're not category into the at least lesser capacity beings, you're not qualified to call human beings. Because you are now different than animals. Animals know how to take care, actually better than human for this life. They have a much better skill than us. Make sense? They only do what is necessary, what is good for them. They don't do extra things. So I think this reason, if our concern is just only for these lives, then it become our mind is not trained into the Dharma. Yeah, or can say our Dharma is not trained into the Dharma. So we do the generosity, moral, ethic, patience, all those Dharma practice, recitation, mantra, meditation, offering, anything. If our concern is not only, our concern of all of those ritual doing is this life, then that Dharma is not turned into the Dharma. So whatever we do, Dharma, according to the eight worldly concern, with the eight worldly concern, is become a negative. So Nagarjuna said, attachment, aversion, and ignorance, and whatever arising from those three are non-virtues. Non-attachment, no hatred, and free from ignorance, whatever arising from those three are virtues. So virtue and non-virtue is what the source of the action. If the source of the action is from the negative, it's become even it's a virtuous action, it become a non-virtue. So it means that if we do Dharma practice as with a negative emotion, then it's become a negative. Lord Jesus said, deity with attachment is caused to reborn to the hungry ghosts. Deity with the aversion caused to reborn to the hell. Deity with the ignorance caused to reborn to the animals. Make sense? So, like when you see the deity with the union, they are not a symbol of attachment. They are a symbol of free from attachment. So don't act like that. When you see the deity as a wrathful, it's not a symbol of the angry. You know, because sometimes people do the wrathful mantra to destroy their enemy or defeating or someone, you know, including the spirit. Then you really literally become angry, not the deity as a wrathful. Then it's become a cause to reborn in hell. So it's don't take as literally all those what appearance of the deity. So if you look at the description of the union, for example, deity union said, the union is the symbol of a free from attachment. Make sense? It's not the sign of a, you know, what we think lots of time. It's different. So that way, so whatever produce or arising from the negative emotion, it's called a non-virtue. So what is it distinguishing the what is the virtue, what is non-virtue is the source. Can say source? Yeah, if that's come from the negative emotion, it's a non-virtue. It's come from the positive emotion, it's the virtue. So even we try to do some dharma, nice dharma activity, if come from the negative emotion, it become a non-virtue. Even the wrathful, scary looking manifestation, the deity, because they come from the compassion, it's the virtue. So that way. So Dharma practice is called the Dharma as a virtue as a beginning, virtue as a middle, virtue as an end. You know, we always said this one every time. Virtue as a beginning means that you need right intention. Virtue as a middle means that do right way, right things. Virtue as an end means the right dedication. So in the called the Manjushri Namasangis that said Tomabata Tajiwan, Debe Sanje Nanji, so Maona Jasunju, Tataju Tosanjis, Yanda in the songs. So it's a virtue as a beginning, virtue as a middle, virtue as an end. Past Buddha taught that way, future Buddha will taught that way, also present Buddha taught that way. All the Buddha's teaching is on those three. I think as we use as I think 3 times virtue, yeah. In Tibetan, sometimes we call the Jong'e Jesung. Yeah. Tambasungi Zigisimba. We use called the Tambasum in the whatever we do with the tree. It can say tree holy, or maybe not good, but I think literally mean the three holy, you know. But I think meaning is a three virtues. Jo senji kitamba, mushimimi kitamba, jengoe tamba. So if we do the Dharma according to the eight worldly concern, our intention is a negative already. Yeah. Cannot do with a worldly concern with a positive intention. In worldly concern in this life concern. I think this one. So what is the right way to, you know, or right is what is the right method to avoiding that this life concern as a meditation on the impermanent. So what is it? Best antidote of this life concern? Yeah, concern for this life, meditate on the impermanent. So said, long before we will die, and we definitely will die, there's no return from the death, and soon will die without a stop death. And when death will come, we have no uncertain. Yeah. And we have no guarantee that we're not going to die today. Nobody has that guarantee. In Tibet, you know, because we don't have matches and things like that on all time. Starting fire is really difficult. Most of people, what they do is a nighttime, they keep some wood or things that on the fire continually stay. Morning when they wake up, they can start easily fire. So all the Kadamba masters, especially Kadamba tradition, they always destroy end of the day fire. Because they don't prepare for tomorrow. They said, tomorrow I'm not going to wake up. So why I need this preparation for fire for tomorrow? And when people died, a cup put upside down. Kadamba master, every night when they go to sleep, they put cup upside down. So tomorrow, if I'm not wake up, then cup is already upside down, you know. So that is how practice of every day. Jimmy Limba, one of the well-known master, he was retreating one place, and he go to collect the water, and that going down there to collecting water is really difficult to walk. So he thought one day I should make this path easier. Then second thought is, if I make the easier, but today I'll collect the water, but if I not come tomorrow again, if I die tonight, I will not come tomorrow. So no point to be wasting my time here. So he did that every day for 12 years. He did whole 12-year retreat there, never fixed that. The place, stay same condition. He did not fix it not because he's lazy, because he doesn't want to waste his time on that, something that he may not going to use for later. Make sense? So that reason is this impermanent. Impermanent is the main antidote of the being attached to these lives. Yeah, I mean we think about that. we collect, we prepare for the house. You have really beautiful house, and you whole life you're working for the, renovating to try to make better. But when, like even, you're not going to have a guarantee you will see the end of the renovation. We have no guarantee to good to see the, complete of that building. Fifth Dalai Lama, he built the Potala, but he haven't seen the complete Potala. Before Potala is complete, he passed away. There is one Drupal master called Tukse Rinpoche in India. He built big, really beautiful temple, but he haven't seen the final of those, especially newer part of the temple. Before complete, he passed away. But I mean, whatever they did is for the, long term of the Dharma. So great. Then we do lots of meaningless way. We build a house, try to make that things, everything's better. None of them take, we have no guarantee we will use them. Truth is. Yeah. You try to order online something, pay expensive one. You have no guarantee you will see that one. You may gone before it arrive at your door. Impermanent is it definite? Really, I mean. So. Normally, food and clothes as a condition of the sustain our life. Yeah. I mean, food and clothes, shelter, and all those are for protecting the life. But many people caused by death caused by food. Yeah. Many people death caused by the clothes, house, transportation. They are become a cause to the death. Even they are supposed to be, and then forget about that. So many people died with a medicine. Medicine should be supposed to be something make you healthier. Yeah, that many people killed by medicine. So it's showing us there are so many conditions. Even that some condition supposed to be to sustain our life, they can become cause to the death. That much our life is fragile. So you should put on your forehead a tattoo called the fragile. Wherever you want to put a tattoo, just put the glasses shape and fragile. Because life is really fragile. Anything possible. Yeah. The worst, I think, worst fragile is the human machine. For us, even the small scratch cannot tolerate. So Nagarjuna said, this life is so fragile. It's like a more fragile than water bubble. Yeah. Water bubble, if you just touch it, immediately destroyed. he said more fragile than water bubble. It's amazing. You go to sleep and wake up. Still you wake up. It's amazing. He said that. So that way. And this impermanent, you see, lots of time we plan. Our plan is, go to school, get job, make family, and once then save the money in the saving, and you get retired and have a retirement life, then died. That is the plan. Yeah. How many people get chance to the retired? I mean, how many people get chance to get job actually? Many die before graduation. Many die before go to school. So Nagarjuna said, some died by old age. Some died at a young age. Yeah. Some died with the youth. Some even died at the time of the birth, and some even died in the womb. I think it's called a miscarriage. Yeah.
Yes.
So there's a everyone is dying something different way this way. Who have confidence of the going to believe? Yeah. There's a called Dodzalun in that sutra said, whoever born will die. Whatever gather will separate. Whatever standing will fall down. So this is a nature of the reality of phenomena. No one can stop that. So that way, Aryadeva said, cause of the death is the birth. Once you were born, no one can stop that coming. So I know lots of people don't want to think about the death, don't want to think about the impermanent. But not thinking cannot free from that. If you really want to truly free from that, you must think. There was said in the Bhutan, they said national growth is a happiness. Yeah, I say.
Yeah. Gross national happiness.
Yes, yeah, that's what measurement of the growth is a happiness. That's the true. What is the what called the how they become happy? What make them happy? Because they think about the death. So method of how to turn into the happy is the thinking about the death. I heard someone told me, I think maybe Lama Rinzai or somebody got the disease, cancer, because he was thinking about that. So because of he was start thinking about the death and later become like fearless of the death. Fear of death is gone. We fear death because we don't want to think about it. Make sense? So I think it's not really negative to think about the death. Even Tibetan culture, sometimes is talking about the death. Sometimes people think as a negative way. One time, I had 2 liberation blankets. That when we died, we put on the body. I gave one to my mom, and I gave one to other lady, older lady. And mom said later, she said, "You shouldn't give her that one." People think negative way because talking about when you die, put this one. They may get upset. So sometimes even Tibetan culture have that problem. When somebody try to give something that is related to the death, they think that is unauspicious. Yeah, sometimes we have that one. I'm not saying it's only West. So that is not unauspicious actually. So when somebody help you to, something definitely going to happen. Somebody help you that something definitely going to happen is really good. When somebody helping you to how to die, because it will definitely going to come. I mean, how wonderful it is. Yeah. If you're not going to die, then somebody's trying to give you idea of how to die. That may be really bad, auspicious. But you definitely going to die. So thinking about the death is not really bad. And no matter how much in this life you have a joy from the youth, joy from the health, joy from the wealth, joy from the fame, but soon it will end. We have to leave everything behind. So our lifespan as a Buddha said from the sutra, is like a passing quicker than waterfall. Lifespan is going faster than waterfall. Waterfall never stop. Even a waterfall, sometimes there's a little bit stop because they touch to the certain area. It's sometimes what called that?
Spray out.
Yeah, spray out. But lifespan, there's no spray out. Continuing. So that way I said it's like a waterfall. So Buddha said, but childish beings didn't understand that kind of. Because of that not knowing, it becoming arrogant and drunk. Can say drunk or toxic from that arrogant. Intoxicated from that arrogant. So whatever right now we have a youth, we have a look, they all soon lose ability, whatever we have ability. So including the any kind of like a inner physically ability and outer economic or what called materially wealth, they all of them sooner or later we will lose them. So Shantideva said, you received so many gifts and so long you enjoy with them. One day, like a robber robbed, like that, complete empty hand you will go. It means that when we die, none of them come with you. Not forget about the material that you accumulate. Even your cherishable body, even this one not going to give with you when you're leaving. Even this one said, okay, goodbye. No matter how you cherish, one day it will say, okay, I got enough from you. Leave me alone. And it's including our no matter how dear they are, at the time of the death, nobody can come. Shantideva said, when we were sleeping in the final bed, even all the dear ones surrounding you, when come to the cutting to the lifespan, it means the dying, suffering of that, only you experience. No one can help you. So only one thing help you at that time is the merit. Too bad that even I didn't have the time to accumulate that one. You know, I think when you have a sudden experience of the like you have a sickness, and at that time reflect. You try to reflect when you're sick, when you feel like I'm dying, reflect. What is really truly belong to you? You know, what is your truly wealth? All other wealth, you wish or not wish, you have to leave to someone. Only one thing you don't need to leave anyone is your own merit. You don't have to write well for that. Other wealth, if you write well, maybe somebody you want to give, you give you well, then government will take, but definitely someone will take them. It's not like it belong to you. You are caretaker. Make sense? Including your body, you're a caretaker. One day it becomes someone's food. Yeah. If you bury someone eat, if you scaberry, bird will eat. So the reason Buddha said, by accumulation of a merit, receive the happiness. That way, human being must accumulate the merit. Also, that one accumulate again and again and again. This is from Sutra. So this is what is mean that my mind turn into the Dharma. By how to turn into the Dharma is by meditating on the impermanent. So in the Kadamba tradition, I think this is originate from the Adisha. It's called the three capacity beings: lesser capacity, mediocre capacity, supreme capacity. So some of professors think he wrote this ornament of the Mayans, I'm sorry, Lamb of the Path. So maybe originally wrote in the first idea, can say, it's from Indonesia, because when Adisha was Indonesia, I think he received all the teaching from the Silimba. Then later he wrote in Tibet to send to India this text called the Lamb of the Path. In the Lamb of the Path, this describe three different type of purush, three capacity: lesser capacity, mediocre capacity, and supreme capacity. So someone who think about the impermanent and accumulating the merit for purpose of a next life, because of the fear of a next life's misery of a reborn in the lower realm, that is called the lesser capacity beings. So when at the end of the life, when we die, we breathing heavy breath, can say heavy breath, yeah. And at that time, who really truly protect us is the Dharma. Not from your relative, not from your wealth, not from your name, not from your power, not from position, not from your look. None of them will be there with you. at that time. You know, even your loved one, no matter how much love you, only who protect us from the when our journey to the next life is the Dharma. Only that one we can take. So don't sacrifice next life for this life. Don't risk for next life for this life. Why? Because this life compared to the next is really short. In Tibetan, we said, next life is much longer than this life. Load of the death is much more strict than this, you know, right now our, what called like a, no. Load of the death is much more strict than human load. Human load, you can have a plead, you know, plead guilt, plead, yeah, yeah, you can, you know, request to the forgiveness. But when come to the load of the death, there's no request of the forgiveness. When come to the karma, it means. So there's no really way to say, I'm sorry, you cannot show your charm. So. Okay. So now, as I said, even that's how your mind or your Dharma turn into the Dharma. But Dharma had to become a path. It means even you mind free from, can say, attached this life, yeah. If you wishing to be next life, become rich, next life you become a powerful, then it's called the path. Dharma is not become a path. Why is it not become a path? Is it path means that you are seeking to the liberation, yeah. Path to me reach to somewhere. It's not path because you never will reach anywhere. It just circles there. Circle is not path, yeah. If you go to the trekking, it's not called path. Because no matter how fast you run, you will be there back to where you start. Yeah, no matter how many circles you do, you never gone anywhere. So this is not path. Path means to go to somewhere, reach to somewhere, start from somewhere to reach somewhere. If we do the worldly concern, then it's never will reach. If you do the next life, maybe next life you become a rich, powerful, healthy, handsome, good-looking, beautiful, all of those, but it's just temporary. Again, go back to the ugly, poor, you know, all those start again. It's just circle never end. That's called the samsara, cycle of existence. Because worldly, no matter how much you gain, it never be there. It's like a wheel. Sometimes it's on the top, but then that top is one day it become a bottom. Top never stay on the top, bottom never stay on the bottom. It is just circle. So samsara is like that. Sometime on the top, sometime on the bottom, sometime in the middle, but without stopping, continue. So that we call the wheel of samsara mean. Then it's not become a path. Why? Because you never reach anywhere. It can run a track. It can call the path. I don't think so. Yeah. No, I don't think so. Path means that you get to somewhere. Yeah. A to Z. I mean A to B. That is called path, yeah. But if you become A to A, it's not called a path. So if we do something worldly benefit, we will not get anywhere. We'll come back to the same place again. Okay, forever we said, this life I'm poor. I want to do generous practice. So next life I will be born to the rich. So you practice the generosity, really hard working, lots of generosity practice. And next life definitely will give you that. I'm sure you will become really rich. Then what happened? More you become rich, because your stinginess will increase. Yeah. More you're increasing your stinginess, you accumulating karma to become poor. Then again, the circle is go back to the poor. Same thing's beauty. Okay, this life you're maybe ugly. Then you say try to do patient and this and that, try to become a beauty next life. When you become a next life beauty, you become arrogant. Then after that, that arrogant make you ugly again. So circle never end. That way, even if our concern is a worldly pleasure, it not become a path to end something, reach to somewhere. Yeah. So even we not concern for this life, if our concern is for the next life's worldly pleasure, then it's not become your dharma, it's not become a path. If your mind trained into the dharma, but the dharma is not become a path. So that reason, what is the antidote of that one? Is it you have to know the faults of samsara, which is the, I think, less favorable subject for the dharma practitioners. Can say least favorable subject. Nobody like that one. In the jewel ornament, first 2 chapters, people love that, precious, what called the Buddha nature and spiritual guru. Say, wow, that's good. But then the 3rd chapter comes, the suffering of samsara, all the drop. Energy is dropped down. 20 number of people turn class is dropped down because nobody want to hear the suffering. Lots of people have idea about why they don't want to hear the suffering. Is it because they think they know enough suffering? They come escape from the suffering. Actually, you know nothing about the suffering. You know only like a 3rd quarter of suffering. Make sense? Because we said there's 3 types of suffering in the human being, basically in the human realm. Suffering of change, all pervasive sufferings. When we said, oh, I'm suffering, we're talking about the suffering of suffering. We have no clue about the suffering of change and all pervasive suffering. We're never recognizing them as a suffering. Long as you're not recognizing them as a suffering, you never be free from suffering. So that reason we need to talk about the suffering. If we not talk about the suffering, you have no chance to free from suffering. So in the Buddha said, recognizing the sickness. When you're recognizing the sickness, you will know the cause of sickness. When you know the cause of sickness, you will know how to stop that cause. That way you can be free from sickness. Make sense? So until you don't know cause of the suffering, you never know the true, I mean, until you recognize the true reality of suffering, you don't know what is the cause of suffering. Long as you don't know the cause of suffering, you have no antidote. So that reason Buddha taught, first his subject is a suffering in the Four Noble Truth of suffering. he didn't say source of suffering, because if beginning said source of suffering, it never become a good subject. People don't care about that because they don't see that one. But when you talk about the suffering, everybody have a related to that one. Everybody have suffering, yeah. But I think Dharma is not giving teaching on the subject of the suffering because you try to make you feel bad. Yeah, I think this is try to see the true, really can say reality of the samsara. So that reason, if we don't know suffering of the samsara, cannot be free from samsara. So that reason, have to know the suffering of samsara. This Arya Deva, I think this is Arya Deva's word. God, human, and three lower realm. It's called the 5 way of a continuum. This is called the 5 way of a continuum. Will of a 5 way of a continuum. Will of 5 way of a continuum. This is like a watching at a stage show. Yeah. And what called that? Can say untrustworthy. Can say also. You remember mean that like not really, because on the stage, sometimes that person become a king, sometimes become a beggar. It's not real that. So it's like how to say this. You remember mean that basically it's saying it's like a unreliable.
So what we see is unreliable.
Yeah. So what see is unreliable. So samsara is so said who the wise one can be rely on this, trust on this. And Vasubandhu said, in the samsara, there's no true happiness. In the fire, there's no true coolness. In the filthy, there's no good smell. These 3. You're not going to find any happiness in the samsara. You're not going to find any coolness in the fire. You're not going to find any good smell in the filthy area. Filthy? Yeah. No, filthy.
Filthy.
Yeah. If you go to the what called the when they're what call this like we take the trash landfill, you don't want there be too long. Similarly, samsara is similar like that. And the samsara, you're not going to find truly happy one. There's someone who totally free from suffering. There no exist something like that. Maybe different suffering each one. So there's 6 realms and 4 different type of birth, and called the 5. It's called the 5 continuum way. It's the same, and all of them are continuing without the without their will. Can say without their will? Yeah, without their own will. We continue in the samsara without our own will. Basically, it means that we have no choice. So in saying is a like our life is like a feather. Depend which direction wind is coming, blow away that other direction. Yeah. So karma is a wind, feather is our life, our mind. If wind of the karma is come from the north direction, there's no other way. It's just blow on the other direction. Yeah. So that way, with our will, we circle in the samsara. So then look the 6 realms, hell beings. I mean, they're saying hell is a torture by the heat and cold. Yeah. Hungry ghost is a torture by the hunger and thirst. Okay, just say, okay, we have not directly contact them. So you say, I'm not sure that's true or not. But we have direct contact to the animals. We have direct contact to the human beings. Because of that, then we can say also those other beings have suffering too. We have to trust those trustable source, which has come from Buddha and all those noble beings. They have no reason to lie to us. So they saw how hell suffering, how hungry ghost suffering. Even so, there was one monk traveling on the and he got to the hungry ghost one. So there's one really, fancy hungry ghost woman. She lived in the really expensive throne and enjoying her life, really beautiful, lots of clothes, food, and in each throne's lake, 4 hungry ghosts. And she offered the monk food and she left out, she need to go out somewhere. And she requests to the monk, please don't give this food to this monk, 4 hungry ghosts. But monk gave them food. So then each one become like a mucus, one become a husk, one become a dirt, one become a fire when they eat the food. And when she come, she said, well, I ask you, don't give this one food to them. Not because I don't care about them. I really love them so much, but I don't want to make them suffering like this. So the monk asked, why you are in this room? So she said, oh, I was a wife of one of these, and they are my in-law and my husband, and we're a farmer, and they went out for the work, and I was cooking. Before they come, one monk Arahat came, and I offer out their food to this monk, So then when they come home, lunchtime, I'm not prepared yet, their food, because she already offered to. So I asked them to dedicate their merit. So they got so upset because they're hungry, they're tired, and said, why you give those monks, lazy one, just rather they eat to the dust, rather they eat to the fire. So say each one said different, that way they born to the hungry ghost. And she said, if I dedicate it from my offering to the pure monk, I can become in the 33 god realms, but I want to see them. So that way I'm dedicated merit that I will be born with them. So like this, there's a lot of story like that, hungry ghost, how much suffering by different hunger and thirst. Yeah. So those are, we human beings directly cannot see them, but lots of reliable source tell the story. So certain things we have to trust those source. Make sense? Then, of course, famously come to the animals. Animal have 2 kinds of animals. One is a majority of animal live in the under the ocean. It's called what called that? Sea animal, yeah. You know, their main suffering is eating by each other. There's one I saw one what called that? Animation movie, you know, when shrimp running. Later he said, "Oh, we are food chain." I thought we have some kind of life. We are their food chain. You know? So, like animals are like food chain, each other and also human beings, continually eating. So there's a then animal live with a human being. You know how treasure we do. I mean, now Western animal, the karma is changed, so much better. You know, now they rule the world. At less family, they rule really. But you know, lots of countries still animal use for the work. When they get tired, said, "Oh, this is being lazy," then whip them. Yeah. So I mean, the human can say abuse. So there's so much suffering going on. Some animal die at the workplace because they're too tired, couldn't handle. There's lots of story like that. Then human beings, we have 8 great suffering. You know, no one can stop that one. Suffering of the birth, suffering of the aging, suffering of the sickness, suffering of the death. Then on that is called the suffering of the medium with the unpleasant one, suffering of the separating from the loved one, suffering of the not finding what you wish, suffering of the losing what you have. Then also there's called the 3 types of suffering. Suffering of change, or pervasive sufferings. So we are tortured by all those sufferings. When we live with a parent, we are suffering because we have no freedom. Yeah, you have to live under their rule. When you live alone, you have suffering of taking care of yourself, pay bill and everything. I mean, there's always a suffering. You cannot escape from the suffering. Long as you're in the samsara, you know, rich one have their own suffering, poor one have their own suffering. Not necessarily all same. What I have suffering is not necessarily you have. What you have suffering is not necessarily I have, but everyone have a different type of suffering because of our different karma. Like even, you know, you're in the like same environment, live in the same environment, but each one have their own different type of suffering. Not necessarily beings who live in the same environment have the same suffering. Yeah, some people enjoy the cold, but miserable with the hot. Some people enjoy the hot, but miserable with the cold. Yeah. So there always be, no matter where you go, someone makes suffering. Something becomes suffering. If you go to beautiful place, then your wallet will suffering. So you're not going to find anyone who not really treasuring, yeah, torturing, not torturing, yeah, torturing by the suffering. Yeah. Yeah, most of people think when you become a wealthy, you have all the joy. But most who is emotionally suffering is a wealthy one. So poor one mostly suffering by physically, wealthy one mostly suffering by the emotionally. So if you look that, who have a most successful business with the psychiatry is a wealthy country, because a majority are suffering with the emotion. If you go to a poor country, you will not going to find any client, because people have no time to miserable with the emotion. Make sense? So each environment have their own different type of suffering. That is showing as long as we are in the samsara, we're not free from suffering. So long as we are suffering, we are not free from the negative emotion. You're not going to feel happy and positive when you are suffering. You feel angry, frustrated, upset when you're suffering. Because of that, you create negative karma, do negative things. Yeah. Then result will be continuous suffering. So that way, no matter how much happiness in the worldly pleasure found, that is becoming suffering of change. You're not going to find any worldly pleasure that become truly joyful. It becomes a source of a cause to some other suffering. Then there's negative emotion has come. So that way, if we focusing worldly pleasure, it's not become a path. Why? Because there's no way you will liberate it from the suffering, from that worldly pleasure. So because worldly pleasure is like a delicious food mixed with poison. More you eat, more you're suffering. So Gampopa said, example of a worldly pleasure is a delicious food with a poison. So food is a delicious. And then there's one fruit I heard, maybe in India, that fruit taste is really sweet. Ambira, something name. But when you eat, it will kill you. Okay, it's 11, so stop here.
I don't want you to stop. I'm just letting you know. I'd rather be kept going.
Okay, because translator also, they need a break. Okay, thank you. We'll stop here. If you have a question, bring tomorrow. Oh yeah, dedication.
By this merit, may I achieve omniscience, having defeated all enemies, defaults. May I liberate all beings from the ocean of samsaric existence and its pounding waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death. May the precious supreme mind of awakening arise wherever it has not arisen. May not decline wherever it has arisen, but ever increase more
and more.
The
The hero Majushiri who know how, and likewise some of the brother, I follow in their path, fully dedicated in these virtues.
by the blessing of the
Just give time to breathe.
Huh?
Give time to breathe.
You always claim I read too slow.
No,
Now
I
I'm
never-
reading too fast.
I never said that.
Okay, we'll
By
slow
the
down.
blessing of the Buddha who attained these three kayas, by the blessing of the truth that is unchanging reality itself, by the blessing of the community that is undefiled Sangha, may my prayer bear the fruit of the according with my dedication. By the virtue accumulated in the three times by myself and of samsara and nirvana, by the innate root of virtue, may I, all sentient being, and quickly attain unsurpassable, perfect, complete, and precious awakening. May the teaching of the great Gampopa Ranashiri, who is preserved all the knowing, omniscient Lord of the Dharma, with the mastery over the virtue point of the dependent origination, be upheld through hearing, contemplation, meditation, and please be study, practice until the end of samsara existence. Through the blessing of the truth of the Kagyu Lama, the three jewel Yidam deity, the Gini and Dharma pact, may the spiritual and worldly legacy as well as the monastery of the second Nagarjuna flourish and prosper. May the hostility of the diversity, no matter how violent and bad the act, may the three auspiciousness, happiness, and goodness, by the power of the virtue accumulated through the showing and the accord with the Buddha's teaching, unmistaken path, utterly pure intent. May the teaching of the Gampopa Ranashiri, our 10th Bhumi protector, flourish and remain forever. Done? Oh. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gampopa. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you, Lama. Gracias, Soldi.
Zoldi.
Gracias,
Thank you,
Soldi, por
Kempo.
la
Gracias,
traducción.
Zoldi.
Thank you very much, Soldi, por la traducción. Gracias.